Welcome back to the channel where we all can learn and grow together. I have been tagged by Homegrown Country in a 3-knife challenge collaboration that's been going around between a lot of YouTubers. So I thought I would go ahead and put this video out here of my everyday carry knife, my oldest knife, and my favorite knife. Now, the favorite knife category is kind of hard for me because I have quite a few, and I think because I have use for pretty much the majority of them, they're all kind of have sentimental value to them, and I kind of like them all equally, but I have narrowed it down to the 3 because the everyday carry is easy. This here has been and will continue to be my everyday carry. It's been my everyday carry for the last 4 years. This is a 1 in a million decent knife that Walmart sold about 4 years ago. It's only a $4 knife, but most of their other knives at Walmart is Ozark brand. I wouldn't recommend, but I think I got lucky and I got the 1 in a million. This has been, I wish they still made this knife, but this knife here, it's a locking knife. It's all metal. The steel on the blade is actually decent. There's other knives I bought of this brand that the blade, you couldn't even hardly put an edge on it, but this one surprised me, and this here has been an outstanding knife. I'm able to keep a razor sharp edge on this knife, and it's just been for a Walmart knife. This has been exceeding above and beyond my expectations for even a knife that you would pay a lot more money for. So, but I kind of bought it as a cheap knife to throw in my tackle box, but I ended up liking it so much that that I just started carrying it around more and more, and ever since then I just loved this knife. This is it just surprised me for a Walmart knife, but this has been and will continue to be my everyday carry. It's been my everyday carry for the last 4 years, and it's gone through some abuse and it's still holding strong. The belt clip is still holding strong, and if I ever end up losing this knife or something happens to this knife, it's going to be hard to replace it. Even with the higher dollar knives, it'll be hard to replace it. My oldest knife is my oldest knife. There's quite a few of my knives I've had, pretty much the majority of my knives I've had for at least 7-8 years, maybe some of them going on 10 years. But this knife here I've had, it's a buck knife. It's not American made buck, I wish it was. It's China made, but it still has held up really well. I've had it, and sometimes I'll have this with my everyday carry knife, because sometimes I like to have a folding knife in my pocket, but I rotate out my folding knives for some reason, because I like each and every one of them, so I kind of sometimes switch them out with my everyday carry. But this buck knife I've had maybe 14, close to 15 years now, and it's still in excellent condition. All my knives I had before this one, I was still learning how to maintain the blades and stuff, and a lot of the blades got pretty well worn down from me trying to learn how to sharpen them. But once I got to the point that I could keep a blade sharp without damaging the integrity of the shape of the blade or anything like that, and I could keep them razor sharp. I started building better knives, or at least knives I can afford with better quality. And this is one of the first ones I bought, and I started getting rid of all my other ones that I've kind of destroyed. But since then, I've maintained my knives pretty well. But this is my oldest knife. Again, it's like 14 or 15 years old that I've had this that long. My favorite knife category, it's been real tough to try and narrow it down, but I thought I'll just take the opportunity to show off a knife I've made. This knife here, I made it with 0 power tools. I bought a piece of 01 steel and cut the shape of it out with a hacksaw, and then I ground the edge in with mill files and sandpaper, and also stone sharpened it. And the wooden handle, I put the wooden handle on, and then cut the I used I glued this, but it was still square, and then I cut the shape of the handle using the metal kind of as a guide, but I used a coping saw to cut out the metal, and I got it close enough without touching, and I sanded it down to the rest of the metal shape, but then put several coats of polyurethane and also tung oil on it also still. But this knife has, since I have made it, has lasted me, I would like to say, about 8, maybe 9 years now. The leather sheath on this I was not able to make because I don't really know how to do leather working that good. So I had this here made by a leather shop around town, and the leather sheath has served me very well. I love this metal leather sheath. One day I'd like to learn how to do leather working, but I think he charged me such a decent price I couldn't even buy the material to make this, let alone have, the tools and everything. But the sheath and everything fits really good, and it's been a pretty good knife for, I've only made like 3 or 4. This is my second go. My very first knife definitely shows a lot more of my mistakes, and the edge isn't as nice as what I've put on this. And but this is the first knife that I was also able to heat treat. A lot of my other knives I didn't get to heat treat. This one here, I used my fire pit, and I got a piece of pipe that was not galvanized. It was a steel pipe, and I hooked a cheap hair dryer I got at the Goodwill to it, and ran it through the brick of my fire pit that I had at the time, and I forced air through the what I was burning, and I was able to heat this up so it wouldn't take a magnet no more. I dipped it in oil, and then I repeated that process, heated it up till it wouldn't take a magnet no more, dipped it in oil, and then I cleaned it up, and then I tempered it inside an old barbecue grill I had that I started to use for knife making. It's just it was something that I want to get back into, but I dabbled in and then couldn't afford to keep up the hobby. But I like to get back into knife making, but make a little bit better ones, or get better at it as I go. But this is a knife I made, And I do got some honorable mentions, but this, as far as the 3-knife challenge, is my 3 knives as far as my everyday carry, because this has been my everyday carry for the last 4 years. I've had this knife, and it's my oldest one. I've had it again for about 14, 15 years. And for my favorite knife, just because I made this one, I think is my favorite knife. And a lot of times this is a knife I'll strap to my side and walk around the yard or something when I need to use it. Or a couple times when I went hiking in the woods, I have put this on the side of my hip and had this one. But there's also other knives I've had with me, rotate them out. But since I made this one, I thought I would take the time to show it off. But those are my 3 knives. But I'm going to also show a few knives that are kind of honorable mentions. One is one my brother gave me. This is a SOG, and it's been a beautiful knife. And I've had this one longer than the one I made me, and for the longest, this was my favorite knife. And anytime I went out in the woods or was doing anything where you could use a knife, like something on the side of your hip, this was the knife that I used, because for a while I didn't have the other 2 that I'm getting ready to show. So this one, out of my bigger knives, this is my oldest one of my bigger knives, because I've had this, I don't know, maybe 10, 11 years, maybe 11 years. It's been quite a while, so I can't exactly remember exactly how long it's been, but this is a little older than some of these others. Then I got Marbles knife that I got out of a Smoky Mountain Knife Works place out of Sevierville, Tennessee. If you're ever in Sevierville, Tennessee, and you've never been to the Smoky Mountain Knife Works, I highly suggest, if you're ever through that way, I'm not getting paid to advertise for them, but that's one place, if I ever decided to pick up a sponsorship and they ever sponsored anybody, I got several knives I bought from them, but I like the Smoky Mountain Knife Works for the fact they got something for every price range. If you're somebody on a budget, they got knives with warranties to them. They got knives for even person on a real tight budget. But if you're a collector and you like your Case Double X or your Hen and Roosters, or something higher end, they got just about every brand and oodles and noodles supply of brands. And then they got camping stuff. I really like the Smoky Mountain Knife Work company for knives. It's pretty much the only place I shop for knives anymore. But this here's a Marbles knife I bought off of them. It has been an outstanding knife. It's held an outstanding edge on it. I do know someone who bought one of these, and around this head area, it was a lot thicker and fatter than mine, and the grind they put on it, it wasn't as sharp as mine, so he had to kind of redo the tip of his to get the edge the way he wanted it. But once he got it on there, his holds up really nice. But mine, I did have to search through a few of them to get one where the tip wasn't all chunky and fat, and actually already had a decent edge at the tip. And this here, and plus the handle's so nice. I really like the shape of this handle. Some of them with this bone or stag, there's almost no two alike. So, but this handle here it's been a really nice knife. And sometimes I will also swap this out with my other big knives, and sometimes I'll have this here when a bigger knife is good to have on your side. So this here's another one of my honorable mentions, and also this here is a set of Frost cutlery. I'm not a big fan of a lot of their knives, but this knife here, this has been an outstanding knife. When I bought this, I didn't know much about Frost cutlery, and it's also the first time I bought anything off of the Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I'd never even been in their store, and someone told me about them and gave me one of their catalogs, because they also have catalogs, and I ordered this here. Was the first purchase I got off of them through their catalog. And so I had bought this not really knowing much about all the different brands that I know about now. And man, this here I think is a gem of theirs. I found a bunch of other Frost cutlery, and some of them's good and some of them's not. I guess you have to pick and choose, but this one has been an outstanding set. I don't have no regrets buying it. The came razor sharp. They're still razor sharp and still has a factory edge on them, even though I have used these quite a bit. And believe it or not, I've had this here a little bit longer than this one. I think I've had this about 7 years or so, and this one here I've had almost, but not quite as long as this one. I probably have had this, I don't know, maybe 9 years, not quite. It wasn't too long after I had this, maybe a year or so after I had this one that my brother gave me. I bought this set, and since then I've tried to buy a few other Frost cutlery stuff, and I wasn't as happy with them, so they're kind of hit and miss. But this set here has been an outstanding set. I do got a whole bunch of other knives here I could show, but I think I'm going to start wrapping this video up. Here's another. I will show off a couple more folding knives I got though. This is a folding knife. Sometimes I'll swap out with my buck knife. This is a trapper style blade, which has two blades on it. It's a knife I bought on our 5-year wedding anniversary. It's the very first time I was able to step in the Smoky Mountain Knife Works store and not buy it online or or through their catalog. But this knife here, this was my first purchase inside their store, and we had went down to Tennessee on our 5-year wedding anniversary, and I was able to purchase this knife. And because of it being kind of a 5-year anniversary thing and my first purchase inside their store, it's kind of hard for me to want to even use this knife because it has some sentimental value. I use it once in a while, but I think I take more pride in the care of this knife just because of the sentimental value. So and here's another knife I had bought off of the Smoky Mountain Knife Works company. I've only had this knife maybe four or 5 years, and a lot of times I think lately I've been using this a little bit more than my buck knife. This has been a really good knife. It's a Rough Rider brand that they sell, but this here's been an outstanding. This blade on here, and it came razor sharp, and I'm able to keep a razor sharp edge on it easy, and it holds a razor sharp edge on it for a good while, even with more than moderate use on it. I really like this knife. I have a lot more, but like I said, I think I'm going to wrap this up. And I have actually so many knives, I could actually make this an hour-long video if I wanted to. But get into talking about these, and I got a few others. There's another one I made that my dad owns. There's a lot more folding knives here. I do got an old folding knife that my neighbor gave me. It's an older Case Double X, and it's got an old sheath to it. I'm still in the process of trying to put a good edge on it. It's got really, really good metal and real tough, strong metal. So the stones I have is being a little stubborn and slow going, putting an edge on it. But I have a feeling once I get that razor sharp edge on it, it will stay on it for quite a long time. It has really good tough metal on it. But hope this wasn't too much rambling. I wanted to get this video out and also thank Homegrown Country for including me in this challenge. It was definitely a challenge. Once I seen this challenge going up with other YouTube channels, I was like, oh my goodness, if I get called out on this, I'm going to have a hard way to go, because there's even many more knives that I could include even in the honorable mentions. But in fact, I got a total, besides what I showed you already, I got a total of about other maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 other knives that I didn't even show in the camera. Because I've been sitting here fumbling through them, and it's like, it's hard to pick a favorite, because some of these I'll keep in different areas. I keep at least a couple good knives and a cheap knife in my tackle box. I like to keep some different various knives in my camping gear, or also some knives I have for when I go hiking. I don't do the extreme hiking where you're off in the mountains somewhere and you gotta pinch a tent at night. Sometimes I'll just go around the local parks here and hike on some of their trails. Some of them's a couple miles long and they got a trail, but you're in the woods, and sometimes you might run across times you might need a knife. You don't want it for that situation, but try and keep one on you anyways. But I got knives for that. I try and keep another little knife, a cheap knife, in my glove box of our vehicles, even though I got knives on me. I try and keep other knives around. Now that I got this place, I'm going to keep a couple down in the basement just in case, I need them for certain reasons, along with a few other tools that I could keep down there to do stuff while I'm down there. I'll have the tools nearby. I hope you had a really good weekend, and I hope your week goes smoothly, and I really appreciate each and every one of you for watching and your support, and I apologize if I haven't been able to watch a lot of your videos yet. This weekend kept me busy. Never-ending part of being a homeowner, I guess, is the never-ending chores list that comes along with it. So just still trying to get acclimated to everything. So, but I'm wanting to start trying to make time to sit down and actually watch other people's videos. So hopefully pretty soon I could, instead of talking about it, actually do it. I like to be a person of action, but lately it seems like I've been all talk. It feels like. But thank you again for all your support, and each and every one of you are valued to me, and as a person. I don't really like the word subscriber, but it's something I guess YouTube put on there. But I really appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.